And we're back. All right, so D's here with another video, and we're going Lakers. And this is after the series is over, and they lost to the Nuggets. And it's very frustrating listening to all the nonsense on fucking TV. So all these sports analysts, let me just adjust something real quick. Whatever. There I am. D's JD. So all these analysts are just saying just some silly stuff. But let's just go through. I just want to go back first to 2020. The Lakers beat the Nuggets in 2020 and won the championship. And what did they do immediately after the season ended? Well, maybe not right after it ended, but before the next season, they freaking blew up the team. They got rid of so many people to get who? To get Russell Westbrook. Oh my God, what a disaster. And okay, maybe you want Russell Westbrook. I don't know. I think what happened was that LeBron said, like, hey, we need a ball handler. We need somebody because he wants to be off the ball so he can extend his career and not have to work as hard on offense, right? He wanted somebody who plays a lot of games, and can make sure they get into the playoffs, because when Westbrook's on a whatever team, they get into the playoffs. He was in OKC. Then he was with the Wizards. He was in with the Rockets. And the crazy thing is that when the Lakers played the Rockets and Westbrook was on the team, the defensive strategy, Frank Vogel, I just want to say, we've got some tangents going on here, but I want to say Frank Vogel was actually a really good coach. And they had a defensive scheme where they would double Harden with every player on the Lakers, as in whoever is guarding, how do I word this? Unless it was LeBron James guarding James Harden, he was getting doubled, okay? So the Lakers would actually leave, the person guarding Westbrook would leave him to go double James Harden. Again, unless LeBron was on him, then LeBron guarded James Harden by himself. Now, going back to Russell Westbrook. And when you see that series, it's like, why would you just played against him? You just showed his flaw that he might as well be useless in the playoffs. How on earth are you going to say, you know what, I want that guy on my team? And it's so weird. And I think that, like, LeBron maybe, because it was part of LeBron's, it was his idea. It was either like DeRozan, they almost got Buddy Hield, and then next you know, it's fucking Westbrook. And it's so frustrating because it was just a disaster. Not only is it Westbrook, who's not a good fit, he was getting paid like $40 million. So you had to clear out your freaking team to pay this one guy all this money. I'm gonna go insane just thinking about this. So the team was so good. They had multiple bigs. Okay, they had JaVale McGee, they had Dwight Howard, and then they had AD. And a lot of times you would have two out of the three on the floor all the time. And every now and then you have just AD on the floor. That's fine in the playoffs and stuff, right? So here we are with this great team. You had Danny Green, who didn't have a good shooting. You had Caruso, a great defender for the perimeter, a guard. He can knock down shots, strong, hustles, smart. And the crazy thing is that he was actually the best. So you have like the duos, like AD and LeBron. In terms of plus minus, Caruso and LeBron actually had the best plus minus. Now, if you were to watch them play, you would always see Caruso trying to get other players open while LeBron had the ball. So he was setting like back cuts and just trying to get people easy baskets and LeBron easy passes to help. And that worked so well. It worked so well. You had KCP, who is on the Nuggets, and they could use right now, let me tell you. God, imagine KCP instead of D'Lo in the playoffs. I'm going to try and stay focused here. But I need to go back to how good this team was in 2020. I think that was the best team LeBron has ever been on. Okay, top to bottom, you had good guards, you had bigs, you had AD, you even had Rondo off the bench. Playoff Rondo is a real thing. There's some what's that guy's name? Jimmy High Roller on YouTube. He made an awesome video. Playoff. He was talking about Murray. I can feel it more tangents. Murray, who goes like ballistic in the freaking playoffs. The biggest difference between a regular season and a playoff performer by far in NBA history. Like, I don't know if it's modern history, but like just becomes like another freaking player in the playoffs against the Lakers and in general, I guess, because he's not playing too well now against the Timberwolves. But that team was great. And then for whatever, and then LeBron's over here. I think what happens is that they won, and LeBron felt like he was like invincible or something. So he's like, you know what? Let me go get Melo, old, can't play defense, catch and shoot, I guess. Let me go get Melo. Let me go get Westbrook. Let me try and win a championship with all these guys. Like he just gave himself this impossible task. And I blame LeBron, but I also blame Rob Pelinka, because you can fucking say no to this guy. You can be like, what are you talking about? Why are we going to get Westbrook, who's not great, but not only get Westbrook, but get Westbrook at $40 million. Like, if it was at $10 million, yeah, whatever. Like, give him $10 million, have him play. Maybe if he sucks, he sits on the bench, whatever. But what also happens, too, is that when you're these coaches, that when, like, you have a player and he's being paid a lot of money, you feel like you have to play him. Like, I don't understand how a player's feelings and how much you pay him, like, it overrides winning. Like, that's insanity. But it just made me think about Frank Vogel, right? So he was a really, really good coach, and he did not want Westbrook. He didn't want him. And also with that, I think is that it's getting a little dim here. Let me see if I can a little more light. So I think that's not good. I think what happened is that he didn't want Westbrook from the beginning. So they didn't get along. And then I think the front office wanted Vogel to try and get Vogel off the bench. And I think Vogel's like, no, I'm not going to do that, because what happened is that Westbrook can be successful in a very specific situation. It has to be like a bunch of random, role players. And then he has to be able to have the ball all the time. And he just needs to be able to, like, drive to the basket and, go 100 miles an hour, kick it out. And he can be helpful in that way. He's not going to help you win a championship, but he can at least be helpful to be average to get into the playoffs. But I think Vogel understood that he's not playing well here, but it's not because he's not useful. So because they were saying move him to the bench, he's like, no, I don't want to do that, because then it's going to bring his value even down lower. When it's not really his fault. He shouldn't have been on this team to begin with. So I think because he wasn't willing to move him to the bench, then the front office got upset at Vogel and got rid of him. And that was terrible, because he was actually a really good coach. He was so specific on getting players to be stars in their roles. I remember he would talk about how, hey, if we're going on a fast break, you give the ball to your best decision maker, which was LeBron. Or it could have been Rondo at the time, right? Whoever's on the court, right? So one of those two players, you give it to them. And I remember when they got rid of Vogel, players like AD would say, with Darvin Ham, there's just so much more freedom on offense. So we have to understand is that these players, while great as they are, they still need coaching. And what's happening a lot of times is that because of stars, these players they're just such big stars. They start like the management and coaches and stuff, they start kind of like allowing them to do what they want, allowing them to be happy, even though it's a detriment to the team. So anyway, that whole thing is just to talk about how annoyed I am that the Lakers changed their fucking team so much. Disaster, okay? Because of Westbrook and because of LeBron and because of Rob Pelinka. And they could have done well. They could have been more successful, I believe, in the years after that. Now, here we are. They're playing against the Nuggets, and they've lost to them before. And I guess they're a little lucky that they got to the Western Conference Finals last year, but they're not going to play them. They're not going to beat them. They had the formula of how to beat the Nuggets, which was You have to have bigs. You have to have Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, AD all annoying the crap out of Jokic. And you have to have guards that can actually play great defense. But what do you have? You have D'Lo. If D'Lo's not making shots, he needs to go to the bench. If it was up to me, I would have put Dinwiddie on the floor and give him more minutes and be like, yo, this is just not your series. D'Lo, we need to focus on defense, and you're just a wiry little freaking guy. He even knows himself that he's not super athletic. He mentions it himself in his interviews. He's like, I'm not really even athletic. I can't believe I'm in the NBA. All this nonsense, which is kind of true. And this guy, the series is actually close. I just don't understand how, like, you have the formula. You've beaten the Nuggets in the past, and you never actually tried it. You had Hayes and people in the first game he played against the Nuggets, he looked lost for a couple minutes. I think what happened is that he was way too nervous, and it was the playoffs, and he couldn't focus, and he just scattered all over the place, right? So I think they should have tried to solve that issue with Hayes. He did come in later in the series and play other games, and he was effective, but he played so little. He just played the minutes where AD was on the bench, basically. And there was actually a game where he didn't play at all, and they definitely lost that game. I think that was it game one? Or I think it was game one where, like, Hayes didn't get any minutes. But anyway, that's really frustrating. And you have what's it called? You don't have perimeter defenders, right? Well, no, you do. You have, but it's D'Lo and Reeves are getting all these minutes. How do you have this guy put up so many bricks and you don't take him out? He's not even getting paid a lot. And him is saying, well, we need him to succeed. It's crazy with D'Lo. D'Lo drives me insane. I never liked D'Lo. But interestingly enough, or ironically enough, D'Lo is actually, well, I got to stop clicking this thing. D'Lo is actually the primary reason, I think, that the Lakers got into the playoffs, because he got hot. And he actually played above himself for a while, it seemed like. So he basically kind of sucked all year. And then right after the trade deadline, he just went ballistic and was scorching, making threes like a maniac. And then when he got to the playoffs, he cooled off. He had like one good game. That was game 2. The game they won, I forgot. No, game 2 they lost. Wait, game 2 he actually played well, but they lost at the buzzer. And there was another game he played okay, and then they lost. But anyway. And you have the formula. You got to get Hayes on the court with AD. You got to focus on defense, and you got to immediately pull D'Lo if he's not making shots. There was a game where he was like 1 for 5, and I'm like, that's it. You had your chance. You took your 5 threes. Come to the bench. You missed. And then from there on, he ended up going 1 for 9. And then there was another game where, they lost by like a 1 point at the end. There was a lot of close games. And this guy's putting up bricks. This guy went 2 for 10, I think, in game 5. He went 2 for 10, and they lost with Murray hitting the game-winning shot in the last second. So it just drives me nuts. You have to focus on your defense when D'Lo's not efficient. He reminds me of Isaiah Thomas Jr., where, like, if he's not making shots, he's useless. D'Lo is absolutely useless. I would not have played him nowhere near as much. I would have switched up and get Dinwiddie minutes, get Dinwiddie to guard Murray. Reeves he was not so good, and then he was good. I liked him because he was one of the few that actually continued to be confident, aggressive, and actually was really, really trying, working hard to keep us in the game and to win some games. So you have D'Lo. You're not playing Hayes enough. You're not working with him because you need him. You need length against Jokic. So you should have figured that out. You got to be able to pull D'Lo. And D'Lo wasn't, again, I might mention, he's not making a lot of money. So it's not like you can even use that excuse like, hey, he's a big player. Like, we're paying him all his money. This is what we need him to do. It's like, no. I think he had like a $10 million contract or something. Pretty reasonable contract. That, where you could have pulled him quickly, give him a lot less minutes because, again, he's not making shots. He's a defensive liability. Then you have Dinwiddie, who didn't get enough minutes. He wasn't aggressive enough. Then you have Gabe Vincent, who just came back right before the playoffs, I think, right? And he was trying to get involved and trying to get what's it called? Just like, into the chemistry of the team and stuff. That didn't work out, but you had to cut D'Lo's minutes. Oh my gosh. And fucking Rui. Oh my God, Rui not existent. How these games are so close. These games are all so close. Lakers were winning for most of the time. They were so close. You got garbage from Rui. You got D'Lo, who was like great for one game, and then you just put him bricks everywhere. You got Reeves, who's not doing great. You got Dinwiddie, who didn't do anything, who barely did anything. Gabe Vincent barely didn't do anything. But the two people were D'Lo and Rui. Those guys average like what, 15, 13, 17 points per game, and then they come to this first round playoffs and they play like shit. They play like absolute garbage. And they're still this close to winning. So AD and LeBron played great. They played absolutely great. You can't blame AD. Played like A+. He freaking aggressive, confident, scored, defensive. I know he got hit. So he came in, he played great. Basically the entire series, except for that time he got into foul trouble, that one game. That was the game that they were up 20 and they lost at the buzzer. He got into foul trouble, and I think what I remember seeing is that he was afraid to get another foul, so he was setting terrible screens. He was slipping everything. So they're trying to do a pick and roll, and he's so scared to catch another foul that he's not staying in place. So he comes up, LeBron has the ball, and he tries to get around his guy, and he can't, because as soon as LeBron starts to move, AD comes out of the way, and now the defender's following LeBron next to him or slightly in front of him, and you got no clear room, no clear path to the basket. So you got to set the fucking screen. You got to set the fucking screen. What's the point of going to do a pick and roll if you're not going to set the fucking screen? It's complete waste. So there's all these things going on. But what I'm upset also with is these people on the sports analysts that have no idea what they're talking about. They're not watching the game. You're seeing people saying, oh, the Lakers need size. The Lakers need wing defenders. The Lakers, you had health, great health for your players, for your top 4 players all year. All that shit is completely wrong. The Lakers have wing defenders. Has anybody heard of Cam Reddish? He was on the team. He was injured early, and he was actually playing great defense. When all these people were freaking hurt in the beginning, he actually played a few games, and they were winning every time he played. He was aggressive. He was getting steals in the backcourt. He was getting fast breaks and scoring. Then you have Vanderbilt. Has anybody remember Vanderbilt? The Lakers don't need wing defenders. They have them on the team. They were just injured. Who was saying this? It must have been fucking Perkins or something. Oh, God, an idiot. They don't need more wing defenders. They are on the team. They were injured and couldn't play. Okay? The other thing is that they said they need size and height. Does anybody remember or know that the Lakers have Christian Wood on the fucking team? Christian Wood is on the team. You have 3 bigs. You have Anthony Davis, Jackson Hayes, and Christian Wood. Christian Wood was injured. He barely played anything in the whole second half of the freaking season. Does anybody remember this? This is what I'm talking about. People don't watch the games. And Nick Wright, which I agree with a lot of the things he talks about. I'm sorry, he got this one. I believe he got this one wrong too. He's talking about how like the Lakers had, all these the players are healthy and stuff, and that Pelinka should have made some moves or something at the end of the fringes of the team. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? The Lakers are not. A team is not 4 players. A team is not Reeves, D'Lo, AD, and LeBron. That's not enough. You know how many games and weeks upon weeks upon weeks the Lakers were playing games with 8 people? Does nobody remember that? You would have. I was texting. I was gonna find it, but it's on my freaking phone. I'm recording with it. But I remember there was a time when there was no Gabe Vincent, no Vando, no Cam Reddish, no Christian Wood. Like, half the team was injured. A third of the freaking team was injured where they're like, yo, we got to play our games with like 7, 8 people. Over and over and over and over and over again. The team actually had a relatively good roster. You know how good it would have been to have Christian Wood? Now, Christian Wood, I wasn't a big fan. I'm a fan of his skills and his size, but I wasn't a fan of him playing on the team because when he would get into the games, he would become very selfish. Okay, he would get the ball and he's like, he thinks he's some superstar and he's like dribbling one-on-one and trying to do these moves. Like, bro, you're a big man. For this team specifically, your role is you're a big man. Okay? You're going to play defense on the big guys on the other team to help AD. And you're going to spot up and catch and shoot threes. Yeah, you might get a fast break. You might get a tip in. You might get a lob or something. But you're not going to go one-on-one. You're not doing that. So his issue is that he can never actually play properly. He was never an actually good team player. But he had the height. If he was healthy, that could have helped. Imagine having, because Christian Wood can actually shoot a little bit, imagine having AD with Christian Wood on the floor, and Christian Wood can be in the corner, okay? And AD can try and score in the paint, and you have space now, okay? Everybody's on the outside, including LeBron and Reeves, and I would have put Spencer Dinwiddie in there. I would have put Gabe Vincent. D'Lo can fucking disappear. And then on the defensive side, you can have Christian Wood guard Jokic, and you can see if that works. And then you can have AD helping off of somebody else, like off of Aaron Gordon, because AD can be in kind of like 2 spots at once because he's so tall and so long that he can help off of Aaron Gordon, who's in the dunker spot, and then get back to Aaron Gordon. So that would have been it. So the team is actually well built. So I do want to put some blame on Darvin Ham. The number one blame is the injuries of the whole fucking team, because the whole team, the role players, the whole fucking team played like and was so injured that they shouldn't have been in the 8th spot. They should have easily been in like the 6, 7, 6, 4, 5, 6 easily, right? And then the next one I blame is D'Lo. D'Lo, oh my god, I can't. D'Lo is nearly as bad as Westbrook. His name is Russ, right? Russell Westbrook. And then D'Lo, D'Angelo Russell. Okay, obviously. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. So, no, I want to say, yeah, thanks for getting hot and getting us into the playoffs. And on a side note, the in-game tournament, the playoff tournament actually backfired on the Lakers this time. They would have made the playoffs regardless. But in this specific instance, this year, they were in the 8th spot, and then they beat the Pelicans to get the 7th spot, which gave them the Nuggets. I mean, what are the chances? That's horrible. But the Lakers were good enough to win if they made a couple tweaks. If D'Lo played less, Hayes played more, but we needed some more players who weren't injured. We could have used Cam Reddish. What if Cam Reddish would have got a few minutes on Murray? And just like, bro, you go in there, you fucking hustle your ass off, you sprint on everything, you stay in his face, try and slow him down, and then, okay, cool, thanks for your 5 minutes. Let's put somebody else and do the same thing. Gabe Vincent, okay. Dinwiddie, all you guys can go 100 miles an hour against this guy and wear him out, because you guys can share the minutes, and he's playing over there and playing all these minutes. So I blame the injuries. I blame D'Lo for being the typical, bad playoff performer. I blame Rui Hachimura. This guy was missing so many shots. I think in that last game he missed. I was counting missing like a handful of missing layups, missed dunks. Rui, he never showed up. He never showed up. And this guy is a crucial part of this team. Barely ever showed up. I mean, if I want to go through these, I don't want to go through all these games and stuff, but if I just look at a couple of these, I mean, what did Rui do? What did Rui freaking do? Rui, let's just see game 1. Rui, what did you do game 1, Rui? Okay. Hachimura, 7 points. You're absolutely out of your mind. 7 points, Rui. Right? Okay, cool. And then what do you do? What did you do game 2, Rui? What did you do game 2? Let's move this over. What are we at now? We're at 25 minutes. Let's finish up this damn video. Rui, where were you, Rui? Rui, game 2, 3 points. Rui, where were you for game 3? Okay? Game 3, where were you, Rui? Show me the 5 points. Rui, where were you in game 4? Game 4, Rui, where were you? Rui, 9 points. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God, Rui. What a disaster. What a complete disaster. I don't think he shot a really bad percentage, but he was just not aggressive. And okay, and then in game, what game is this? Game 5, he scored 14. Thanks. A little too late, buddy. So, I don't know. It's a disaster. Ham was fired. Honestly, at this point, first of all, I would have kept Vogel. I would have not have gotten Westbrook, and I would have kept Vogel. Okay? But we got Westbrook and we got rid of Vogel. Now that we have Ham, would I have fired him? Actually, at this point, I don't think I would have fired him. At this point, I don't think I'm fired him because I don't know what's really out there. I don't know what's out there. I don't know, like, was he terrible, coach? No, he wasn't terrible. Was he really good? Like, he made some obvious mistakes I wouldn't have fucking made. JJ Redick? Like, is that what's really going to happen here? JJ Redick? Like, that's not... You see, when you have a new coach, you need... The reason Vogel was so good is that he already had playoff experience. Okay? He knows about having to make adjustments. He knows how to put a defensive game plan together. In terms of, like, Ham was coaching in assistant coach in with the Milwaukee Bucks. Great. So you saw it. But when you're the guy and you got to make the decision, you got to know when to call timeouts. You got to know when to challenge, when not to challenge. You got to know, okay, in this series, this guy's important. I got to give minutes to this guy. And in this series, I got to give minutes to the other guy. When you have all these things to do, a first-year head coach is not going to be able to make the proper decisions, in my opinion. So Ham has 2 seasons. He didn't show anything great in season 2. And one thing what I agree with Nick Wright is that it took him too long. It took him too long to get Rui into the starting lineup. And ironically enough, Taurean Prince was the one who came off the bench, who was playing confident, who was playing confidently, who was playing aggressively, who was actually making shots, shooting them confidently, driving to the basket, hard, strong. And then Rui became the freaking... They switched places. It was ridiculous. So, at this point, I feel like, yeah, it's like, might as well just keep Ham. Like, I don't know. And like Ty Lue, I don't think they're gonna get Ty Lue. Like, it's kind of ridiculous that like the Lakers had a chance to get Ty Lue. They didn't get Ty Lue. And then all these years later, like, you're like, maybe they'll get Ty Lue. Like, that's embarrassing. I mean, that's embarrassing. I think you should have just, at this point, you should have just kept Ham, but you always should have kept Vogel, and you never should have blew up this team. Imagine winning a championship and blowing up your team. And it's not like the team was old. It's not like the team was falling apart. It's not like the team like was like the Bulls, and you had all these players like Jordan, Pippen, and everybody like, you know, like, all right, this is it. This is going to be like, you know, the last dance, right? That's not what happened. 2020 Lakers, that was it, man. That was it. And next year, what are they got to do? I mean, they need an actual, I don't mind Hayes. I like Hayes. But I don't know what it is. They make some bad decisions over there. They had freaking, the Lakers had Zubac. I always liked Zubac. How do you get rid of Zubac? Zubac was great. He was awesome. He was young. He was young, he was smart, he played hard, played strong. And they had Zubac, and they got rid of him. They had some really weird. Jalen Horton Tucker? Why did they even? That was stupid. Why did you ever even care about having this guy? But jeez. All right, I'm done. I just want to vent. So hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and that is my rant. That is my end of the season Lakers rant. Very disappointed in them. LeBron has a few years left. I think he has a solid 2 years of being a great top player. Okay? With AD at his side, they still have a chance, but they really got to get... I'm good with Reeves. Get rid of D'Lo. I'm good with Cam Reddish. I'm good. Vanderbilt, he's good in spots. I'm good with Hayes. I want to see what Christian Wood can do for me, but they need size in the center position because they need somebody to help AD guard Joel Embiid, Jokic, help with Giannis and Lopez. They need big center. Who did the Lakers had somebody else? I don't know, but the Minnesota Timberwolves basically have like the team. You have bigs, you have one of the bigs can shoot, and you have wings, and you have guards, and you have Anthony Edwards. Like, that's basically what the Lakers look like in 2020. All right, I'm done. Talk to you later. Peace.